Oh, hi there, students. This is the notebook for Investigation 1, Week 3, Correlating Grand Canyon Rocks. It's also the last week of March Mammal Madness, so check your bracket. Let me know if you have, let's say, more than 80 points. You're probably one of the top contenders, so you need to let me know. All right, the first thing we do is we think back to last week when we did the rock lab where we looked at all the rocks from the Grand Canyon layers. And we are trying to remember what are the three types of rocks called that we looked at. One is sandy, doesn't fizz with acid. One, it does fizz with acid. And when you put acid on it, the calcium carbonate reacts and it makes CO2 bubbles. And then the last one is smooth and it has fossils and it doesn't fizz with acid. So if you're stumped on this, look back at your notebook from last week so you can remember which one fizzes, which one's sandy, and which one's smooth with fossils. Okay, and you can see right down here that your options are sandstone, limestone, and shale, but which is which? That's what you need to fill in. Here we're going to fill in the specific types of the rocks because it's kind of interesting to know that all of these types of rocks are actually different. Just because it's limestone layer 9 and limestone layer 5, that's not the same type of limestone. Layer 9 had like little pink shells in it, and layer 5 was very uniform. You couldn't see any chunks or fossils in it. So layer 9 is a layer called toroweep, and you type it in both places. Layer 8 is called coconino. Layer 7 is called hermit shale. Layer 6 is called Supai sandstone. Layer 5 is Redwall limestone. Layer 4 is Muav. And then up here is Kaibab. A lot of these words come from Native American words, so Grand Canyon tribal words. But some of them come from Spanish words and others are more English words. Okay, so that's what that'll look like. You should pause that and fill that in. Okay. And then save and close that. Hopefully you already did. The next thing is called a rock layer correlation. It's not really a game, it's really more of an activity. Take your time as you go through this and do each step. You're going to need to use the thing that we just filled in. So if you look at the thing we just filled in for mile 20, you'll see there's a space here, and then this is layer 10. So pay attention because it doesn't look quite like this on your document. They're switched. And then it goes obviously 9, 8, 7. 6, 5. Oh no, it doesn't do that. It goes to 9. Okay, then you have the layers in the two locations, and this is where we're doing the correlation, which is figuring out how these two places are related. That's what a correlation is. So we're comparing these two places along the Colorado River and the Grand Canyon. Really, it's to learn about the layers and how they formed. So then you need the types of rocks. If you look back at your document, you'll see limestone, sandstone, this would be limestone, shale. And then the types again. Probably you'll need to pause it so you can fill those in. Now it says drag the column with the eastmost site on the right. Mile 20 is farther east, so it should look like this. Match the rocks by shifting the columns up and down until identical rocks line up. Well, right now, the identical rocks do not line up. I need to shift this up and down so that the identical rocks line up. So I'm sliding this down so that 9 lines up with 9, 8 lines up with 8, 7 lines up with 7, and 6 lines up with 6. Layer 5 is under the river over here, and so is layer 4. It's under the river, so you can't see it, but it's down there probably. My next step is to draw lines to connect the anchor points in one column and dragging to anchor points on the other column. What does that mean is we're just connecting the layers. So now we can see that layer 9 runs all the way in between these two canyons locations, even though they're 32 miles apart. And I guess about halfway would be considered mile 36. So you could float down this river on a little boat, and about halfway you'd get 36, and then you could keep floating and you'd hit mile 52. So now we can add the symbols for the types of rocks. Sandstone looks like a cheetah print. Really, it's like big dots. Limestone looks like bricks. And shale looks like flat slats. And that's it. Now you'll take your screenshot. And then you should copy it to your clipboard. Say copy to clipboard so you can go back to your doc and paste it into this box. Okay? So you'll have it pasted in there. I have to do it the long way because I'm not on my Chromebook. Oops. Insert image from computer. Recents. And then there it is. Okay? So then once you have that, you'll use this picture to answer all these questions below. Most of the questions are literally right in the picture. So how far apart are mile 20 and mile 52? Well, mile 52, mile 20, you just have to do a little math. How many miles apart are they? And then it says, what's the elevation of the river? Well, just read it. It's right here, okay? So a lot of the questions come directly from the pictures. And if you're not sure, like if you don't know which way the river flows, just take a guess. If you're not sure which rock layer is right along the river level, just take a guess. So for all of these, do an educated guess. It's okay. If you get it wrong, take a risk, okay? All right, and then we return to our question, why do there appear to be stripes on the walls of the Grand Canyon? And I want you to think about what we've done so far. You can look at this picture again. Why do there appear to be stripes? And also referring back to last week's notebook so that you can look at the rocks and what those types of rocks were. Using sciencey data, I want you to answer this question. Okay. Then what you should do is you should read this information about the human history of the Grand Canyon. There were lots of tribes that lived in the Grand Canyon, and they were ultimately displaced when European explorers came there. And their villages were pillaged in some cases, very sad. And there was conflict between the Native American tribes and the European settlers that were trying to sort of claim the area and study the area because it's incredible. So you understand why people were very interested in it. But taking tribal land is obviously not okay, and that's what they did in many cases. So this is an article about that. And then I want you to click on this Voices of the Grand Canyon link, which is an amazing website where we hear the story of several tribe members from different Grand Canyon tribes. And they talk about why the Grand Canyon is so meaningful for their tribes. And they talk a little bit about history, and it's really interesting and wonderful to hear their voices tell about why it's important to them. And specifically focusing on Nikki Cooley and Lee Kawanwisi-Wisma. I'm sorry, I may have pronounced that not well. And hearing their story and then answering the questions on your notebook. So you can read the whole thing or just focus on clicking on Nikki Cooley and Lee Kawanwisi-Wisma. And watch the videos that go along with it. So sometimes you'll hear there's like an audio clip, but then there's also a video. And I would choose the videos. So this is a sound clip. I would choose the ones that are actually videos that look like this. And all the videos are excellent and short. So if I were you, I would watch them all. And then you hear some really cool connections. So Jim Anode is Zuni, and he talks about Zuni connections to the Grand Canyon. So check that out. It's an awesome article. A ton of great info. And then you can answer these questions and submit on Schoology. And that's the notebook for the week. If you miss class, you're going to kind of do this on your own. But if you're in class, we're going to finish it together. So those are your options. Okie dokie. All right. Email me if you need any help. Let me delete this. And that's that. Let me know if you need help. Okay, bye.